Alright, we're back. Everything looks fine.
Or now.
Until I press the X. Okay, everything's still fine. Good. I had myself worried there for a second. So yeah. So where we let off, we decided this is going to be the last hour today. So where we left off, you guys are in an old mining tunnel on an island in the middle of the Atlantic with a continual lightning storm going on overhead. And change has just concentrated Trek into this physical body, who the original occupant of is now extra dead. Like, I think even their soul was annihilated in this transformation.
Yeah, like they can't be they can't be the way they were.
Right.
They have been unmade.
Yep. And Trek has to decide if he wants to give up being formless or not.
I think I did. I think it's going to be much more. It gives me a personality quirk to work with to be trapped in this body. So yeah, that affliction is.
Will the affliction be changed now, or would you get a new affliction instead called trapped in merely one body?
I mean, it's possible.
So remember, you take a wound for this.
Yep.
Would you like the affliction to be you're trapped in this body? And then once the wound heals, the affliction goes away and you can change?
Yeah, that sounds perfect. What
Okay.
what level of wound would that be? It's a level 3 affliction if that has
yeah, it does.
effect.
A serious wound.
Okay. And since I'm filling this in, what happens if you get 2 serious wounds? Does it just automatically become a deadly?
No.
Since there's only one box for serious?
It depends what happens, how many health levels you have left. If you have a deadly health level, nothing happens. If you don't, depending on how deadly it is or how serious it is, I might say you die, or I might say you take a superficial wound instead.
Okay.
Or I might say nothing happens. Oh, okay. So they can't just keep doing serious wounds to you. They have to level down their attacks and do surface wounds to you to kill you.
Okay. So you'll never actually get 2 serious wounds.
Right. I mean, if you take a second serious wound, we just ignore it.
Okay.
All right. Yep. Okay. So then, change turns to,
To Robert, right?
Yeah, to Robert. She says,
okay.
Are you ready?
I think he just nods grimly. I think he stops just before they begin and says, this might affect it, so I guess I should confess I lied to you about my power.
She looked surprised and said, Why? What did you lie about?
I lied because both I didn't trust you at the time, having literally never met you before, and because my power can be off-putting to people. I'm not the power of business. I'm the power of sadism.
Oh.
Yeah.
And
If
that
it
bothers
helps.
Not my
you?
choice.
Does that bother you?
I wish it bothered me more. It bothers me that it doesn't bother me.
If it helps. He's a rather nice sadist.
I think she laughs at that. Well, I guess your Imperator chose well.
Robert shrugs and just says, I have power over sadism and that everything that means, but I'm still my own person.
Do you understand what that means for sadism?
I think Robert just shrugs at that. Yeah, I don't think he really does.
Okay. And she says, when people think of change, they like change. That's because that's how I relate to change. Change is a good thing because I want it to be. And if you think sadism is a shameful thing, then it is, but only because you want it to be.
Wow, that's so meta.
Robert looks dumbstruck at this.
Do you think people should be ashamed of sadism?
Yeah. Yeah, I do. I don't think that I'm wrong to feel the way that I do about this.
Then that's how the world will treat it. But always remember that if you ever change, your estate will also change with you.
He nods in a, I have a lot to think about, which I will think about later. Let's get this done.
All right. Show me. Why don't you get started? Do you need anything?
I think, yeah, as you said before, and as your suggestion as GM before, Robert needs to be suggested that someone build him something that he can't build, that he doesn't have the technology to build.
Right. So I think, yes, that is her suggestion. She's like, what is it you've always wanted to build but never been able to?
Capacitor.
I think he says, yeah, he's like, out of all of the crazy invention ideas I had as a kid, one that still seems even more out of reach now than before, time machine.
Well, that's not exactly impossible, but maybe you can't do it. You want to give it a try?
Yeah, he nods.
All right, follow me. So she takes you deeper down the tunnels, and you come to this, like, repair shop, kind of. Like, there's tools and drill presses and lathes, and it's like, it's definitely not going to build a high self-driving car in here, but you could try to build a flux capacitor.
Okay, yeah, I think that he does. He spends. There's probably a montage of sorts of him like doing everything that he can to build this thing. I don't think he uses miracles because A, he would actually be able to do it with a miracle, but also because he's using his miracles to sustain his bones.
Right.
So he can't.
But since you are sustaining your bones at that level, you can move incredibly fast and do it
Yeah.
very quickly.
Yeah, I think that there's like it's like, how to put this? It's like if the Flash had tried to build something, and it's just like to everyone else, it's just a blur of him moving around at super fast speeds. And then after a few minutes, he stops, and he has like a beard that's down to like his chest. It's like been it's been like a year for him of him trying to put this together, or months.
Right. And you just
Um,
can't get it to work.
Yeah, and he has this like almost like coiled spring-like device, and he says like the physics is sound, but it's dead. It's not doing anything.
Okay. And I think she picks up like your broken flux capacitor, and she pounds it a few times, like against the side of a droid.
She just whacks it,
And then
and I think that I'd go like I do the like face of someone who sees something bad about to happen,
yeah.
but I don't interfere.
And then there's this giant power outlet, and she plugs it in, and she turns the switch. And we see lightning bolts shoot down overhead in these giant lightning poles, and the lightning goes into the flux capacitor, and the flux capacitor just blows up. And as she does, she crushes the nettles to get the MP from you. So you get 3 MP,
Excellent.
and she gets 3 MP.
Okay. And I take a wound, right?
Yep.
And I can place this MP anywhere?
Yep. And it's also a serious wound.
There we go, I've added it.
Okay. What's your new affliction? Should I give you one?
New affliction for this could be hasn't slept in a year.
Okay. It's usually something you can't do. So let's say you can't sleep.
Sure.
Your failure has given you insomnia.
Yeah.
Miraculous insomnia.
Yeah. You've been awake so long you forgot how to sleep.
That's Nobilis just in a sentence.
Right.
I've not figuratively, I've literally forgotten how to sleep.
Literally. So I think to make a point, Change picks up your now like fried flux capacitor, and she brings it over to the tool bench, and she gets like these pliers and this welding goggles and a torch, and she works on it a little bit. And when she's done, the flux capacitor is glowing blue. And she tosses it to Robert.
He catches it in like a smooth motion, of course, but then looks at it and then looks at her and says, "How did you even?"
And she just smiles.
Finish the sentence.
She says, "What's the quote? There are some parts of science even unknown to you, Mr. Steele."
There are more things in heaven and earth that are dreamt about in your philosophy.
There you go. That's the one. She says, "It may only work once, but when you use it, it'll work."
Yeah, he will pocket the flux capacitor.
Okay, I have an idea, but it's totally up to you. If you anchor that thing, it becomes the best possible, and will probably keep on. I'm just saying.
But it would be sadistic, and if a sadistic flux capacitor would always put you in the worst possible time.
So it will literally be a TARDIS then?
Basically.
Just drops him right in the middle of trouble. Every time.
Yeah.
No warning at all.
Exactly. Or it's like the actual one from Back to the Future where the car just never starts on time. Like it's a
right.
terrible car. Yeah. And I think that Robert tosses it. I think it's small. I imagine it to be almost the size of like the thing that goes in Iron Man's heart in Iron Man 1. Like it's kind of just slightly larger than fist size.
Sure.
So it barely fits in his pocket when he pockets it, but it does. And you can see a blue glow through the pocket.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. And she says, okay. So we completed our bargain. I guess I have to get back to work.
What will you do now?
She says, it's time to change the world. And she shuffles you guys all back onto the train to leave the island.
Okay, he would definitely ask, how is she going to change the world? Because that could be wonderful or terrible.
She says, I'm going to use the Catholic Church to make people realize who they really are.
I think Trek looks at her and says, "That sounds very interesting. Would you like some help?"
She says, I'd love some help. But I think
telepathically. Oh, okay. You continue.
I think your familia dinosaurs, the Bishop Phineas, is going to be a kind of a problem for me.
I'm sure if we explained the situation to Phineas, we could all come to an amicable arrangement.
Well, let's hope we can. I'd hate to get in a fight with such trustworthy gentlemen. So let's okay, you guys want to telepathically say something?
Robert nods as she says that, and then telepathically says to Trek, keep an eye on her. People discovering who they really are could be good, but could really not be. Self-deception is a defense mechanism, after all.
I planned on keeping an eye on her. She's captivating.
But the other type of eye as well.
I, too.
Both eyes.
And by the way, as we're like walking out, Trek is like tripping and fumbling like every fifth step or so, getting used to this new body, and it's probably the most awkward thing you've ever.
Nice. Yeah, like you're walking over train tracks too, right? Like there's tracks in the middle of the old mining cavern, so like you probably trip on the boards a couple times.
His foot probably gets stuck underneath one of the railings for a good 2 minutes or so as he tries to pull it out.
Yeah. It's like, she's like, oh, it's a good thing these are abandoned train tunnels. Choo choo.
Didn't even think of that.
Alright. So let's see what Phineas has been doing during this time. Is Phineas just like watching man, I wrote down her name. Where did I write it down? Is he just watching Livia and the church board try and figure this out, or?
I think remember we talked last time about how I was sustaining the Aspect 6 miracle of starting an evangelical movement with the Catholic Church.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got this pimped out cathedral now, which is also pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, I mean, what is Livia doing? Can you clarify for me what her actual action is, to the extent that I would know it?
It's literally, like I said earlier before, she didn't know you existed.
Mm-hmm.
And she and the church trustees are going through records and trying to figure out exactly when you disappeared and who is currently in charge of the church.
Mm-hmm.
So I think about you guys find a record from about the time you became in power that says that Bishop Phineas has been transferred to another state. But
that's
should
true,
still,
depending on your definition of the word.
right, but should
Yeah.
still be accorded the privileges and rights of a member of the clergy here. And they get confused because it says that the Pope actually ordered this.
Yep, that's great. So I have a couple questions for Olivia, and then I'm gonna get on a plane home.
Okay.
So I think maybe after all of this wraps up, and I don't think I've said anything. I think I've just like been present for this.
Right.
And maybe even like partway through it, like a TV crew comes in and we like find a room off to one side and I give a little interview.
Yeah, totally.
Right? Because like the people who Trek has very kindly like sent into the world have been like preaching the good word, and like people are like becoming interested in me. So like I am becoming an important figure within the Catholic Church while they're doing this investigation about my official status.
Okay.
And I think at the end of it, I catch her on the way out where they've established like that she is, I suppose, the bishop, but I maintain the, what was the word you used? The
rights and privileges
right,
accorded to a member of the clergy.
Yeah. And I think I catch her on the way out and I say, I'm glad we cleared that up, Sister Olivia.
Yeah, and she shakes her hand and says, "You're welcome here any time, Bishop. I'm sorry I had to go through that, but it was strange. Like, people remembered two different sets of things. I'm sure that's not what's really going on. But it's the best I can come up with."
I think I smile and like we're still shaking hands and I put a hand and I say, the church itself can be confusing. The bureaucracy of a religion is not the best face for the church. We must forgive. We must forgive the faithful, focusing on other things, and we must always be wary ourselves of spending too much time thinking about the hierarchy.
Yes, you're right.
I'm sure you would agree, Bishop Livia. What's her last name, by the way?
I don't have one, so don't ask. That's one of the nice things about Nobilis, right? Like, for powers, you don't have to come up with names. Yes, it's so nice. I just have to determine what they're the power of.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, "Don't ask me that. That's rude." But yeah, I don't know what Bishop Livia's last name is. If you really want to, I'll go find one.
No, that's fine. I refer to her by her last name because I assume it came up at some point in this bureaucratic conversation. Sure. Because I feel like that's more respectful to call her Bishop X.
Right. I feel like you guys are having this conversation on a balcony that's really high up. Yeah. And you can see the countryside spread out below you, you know, illuminated by the light of the setting sun.
Yeah.
And
are we back at the cathedral now, or are we somewhere else?
Oh, you never left the cathedral. Like, the cathedral had all these records.
Got it. Right. Okay.
And in the distance, you can see a lighthouse being built. And she says, "Oh, I know the bureaucracy can be quite confusing. That's why I'm focusing on the people and their welfare."
I say, tell me about what your ministry means to you. How will you tend to these people?
With my heart and my mind, it means everything to me.
I apologize. I was unclear. It was evident from your words today that you care deeply about the people, about the faith, and I have every confidence that you were sincere in your belief. What I meant is, what do you find? What struggles do you find among these people? What changes do you wish to bring into the faith? I want to know, how do you want the people to be faithful?
And I think she says, the people are afraid. They're afraid about the trials to come. There are people saying that the end times are coming, that the world will face God's wrath for all the sin and the hate we have for each other and ourselves. I hope that I can help the people overcome that fear and see themselves for who they truly are, and see each other in the same way, and love all of them the same, as if they love themselves.
Can I see the meteor from here?
I know the meteor is gone.
But she referenced the meteor, right? She
Right.
talked about, and okay.
The meteor, so basically what you were able to grasp is that the meteor passed by Earth instead of hitting it.
Yeah.
And physics aside, Umaya
Physics aside,
as a physicist, Umaya's presence on a mortal plane has triggered the extinction of the world. So it won't end in fire now, it'll end in flooding.
That's fun.
And
Keep patching the holes.
yeah, wherever Umaya goes, he just tends to destroy it, like, incidentally.
Umaya
Incidentally.
I mean, not
Just
Umaya.
causes extinction.
Yeah.
Not
There
Umaya,
you go.
Zafio.
The angel.
Sorry.
Right.
Zafio. The
Okay.
angel of
Don't ask
destruction.
him to deliver your pizza.
Not Umaya.
Okay.
Umaya doesn't destroy everywhere she goes, or they go.
Got it. What's causing the flood? Like mundanely?
The moon is changed orbit.
Oh.
I mean, I could probably punch that back into orbit.
You could.
Hang on. I have like 30 aspect miracle points, so
Okay. Would you like to do some punching?
that I've been saving. I feel like punching is not in Phineas's character. I say
Pushing a moon might be.
Yeah, hang on. No. Hang on. I got this. I think I turn to her and I say, do you believe that we have been so sinful as to deserve this?
I think she says, "Oh yes, I think we have all sinned And it's only through Jesus' sacrifice that we have any chance of redemption.
Okay, this is going to get fun. I say Jesus died that we might know God's love. God does not come to earth to punish us. God comes to earth to love us. I can show you that this. Do you trust me?
She says, of course. What do you have to show me?
Okay. So I'm going to spend a bunch of miracle points.
Okay.
I go like this, and I blow the moon back into position.
Okay. Let's see here.
And I'm pretty sure that's 8 miracle points. So I'm taking a wound. Yep.
Yeah, sure, 8.
That's the
you don't have any
got.
aspect?
I have 2 aspect, but I can't spend 6.
Right.
So, I mean, can I use bonds to get bonuses here?
I can see you could argue 7, and then it would be 5. But no, that would still end up to be 8. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's an unreasonable metaphorical effect to blow the moon.
You can't actually do it, so.
Right, and it's neither local nor short, which would be 7. So I think it's aspect miracle level 8.
Yeah, you're gonna do a word of command?
Yes, but I have a bond called I care for the downtrodden, which is worth 3.
Okay.
Does that count for an additional 3 levels?
No.
Damn it.
It would add 3 strike to it, which overcomes whatever Octortas Zaphael's miracle would have had.
Right.
But
let's do that.
Really,
that seems like a good idea.
Doesn't make it cheaper.
Yep, that's fine. But let's burn those 3 points of strike.
Sure.
And then I have like 10 aspect miracle points. So let me reduce this. 1, 2.
Okay.
6, 7. And I realize that I'm also countering what I think is an imperial miracle.
No, it doesn't. In this case.
Okay.
The imperial miracle is to kill the dinosaurs.
Oh, got it. Okay.
This is just one of Zaphael's afflictions. So afflictions will sometimes create miracles on your behalf. So, yeah. Yeah, so you blow the moon into place, and because you're doing it so powerfully, it doesn't rip the Earth in half by instantly moving back into its rightful place. Because that's what should happen if I followed the laws of physics.
Also, the moon might have an actual atmosphere.
There are no laws of physics. The laws of physics are just spirits.
Because the moon, there's no air on the moon, so if you have to blow the moon anywhere, you would give it an atmosphere to begin with.
Yeah.
Yep. Nope. That's not how this works.
It just happens. So she is shocked. And she is actually looks stunned. And a little bit sick, actually.
Yep.
It's probably a good thing Umaya got changed into an angel, because now you're not a follower of a devil like she's about to accuse you of being.
Yep.
Because you just practiced some really weird witchcraft.
I
think she's just stunned. She's more than stunned. Like, she's actually very exceptionally quiet.
Yep.
You mean like catatonic quiet?
Faint?
Or like...
Does she faint?
She doesn't faint.
Like it might... Okay.
But she's not well.
You broke her.
Yep. That is...
A regular human witnessing level 8 miracle tend to do that.
You just Cthulhu'd this poor lady.
Exactly.
And I think I take a wound. What level do I take?
For level 8?
Level
Deadly,
5. A deadly wound, level 5 affliction.
Okay.
I guess this affliction will be
Lycanthropy, moon-based.
you know, driven to acts of hubris.
Yep, that sounds right.
I don't think it's exactly a sin to blow the moon back into orbit, but my religious training may not be up to that. I'm pretty sure it's okay.
Though.
Pretty sure it's okay to blow the moon back into orbit. As long as we give proper thanks to God.
Indeed.
And don't let it get to our heads.
Yep.
Don't hold your breath.
Don't
let the
thinking,
fact that you blew the moon back into place go to your head.
Don't get to thinking you're better than God.
Yep.
I think that's what makes it a sin. So as long as that's not true, you still think God's better than you, right, Phineas?
Well, let's find out next time on Nobilis.
You literally just saved the world. So
I can't wait to see Phineas actually decide he is better than God, and he goes into this whole nihilistic thing. Like, there's no God, I'm God.
Actually, this whole time playing preacher, it turns out.
I found God. It's me. We're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, so let's do XP. Let's start with Phineas. How I healed my Imperator. Phineas,
I didn't do that.
Wasn't involved.
But others did.
But yeah, other people are allowed to work on your project if you let them.
Totally. And we talked about, I think we talked last game, or 2 games ago maybe, Trek, about making this a bit of a joint project anyway.
Yeah. I don't give it Revelation. Maya wanted to be an angel again.
Yeah, I mean, we actually went further than just healing Umaya. We reset Umaya to pre-devil level.
Yeah, it's like it seemed to be, I don't know, fully restored, but greatly restored.
Well, restored to mint in box, anyway.
Yeah. This is how God made her originally. It's not how God wants her to be, and make that perfectly clear.
Yeah.
Cross that bridge when we come to it.
It's pre-updates. There's the DLC patch hasn't been downloaded yet.
It's Umaya Alpha.
Yeah, 1.0. So that will complete this circle, and you can move that forward next time.
Yeah.
How I captured the soul of the creator. Still no progress.
Yeah, I don't think I worked on that.
How I stopped the deceiver Tarteya Napishtam. No progress this week. Also, Robert. Robert. How I took care of my family despite being noble.
I don't think there's any progress on that this week.
I don't think so either. All right. How I came to terms with being one of the nobles list. I think you made progress, or
I would agree.
But what way?
I think that Robert has realized that instead of his power controlling him, he gets to control his power. Yeah. And he really gets what that means in terms of he gets to define its very fundamental nature.
Right. I think that's revelation for you.
I guess so. He was literally struck dumb.
Yeah.
You learn the true meaning of anthropomorphic personification.
Okay, I'm just going to put it like this. You can reword it if you want.
Excellent.
So that will fill that project. You can move it forward or say it's complete.
I will definitely move it forward.
How was I most deeply hurt in my past? I don't think we touched on that.
I'm probably going to remove that eventually. It feels that we're not really dealing with the past much. I think.
Right. And how
So
I vindicated my Imperator in the eyes of heaven.
I think making him an angel helped. Definitely.
Yeah.
Significantly. Not fully, but still a lot.
You're fighting a PR war. You just won that, you know?
So I only want to give the Destiny to one project, right? Because I gave
Okay.
Destiny for that already to Matt's
So,
project about.
yeah, I wasn't sure if it was that with different players. I know the two players can't have the same project, and the same events can't count towards Destiny for two projects for the same player.
Right.
But I wasn't sure about two projects for different players.
What I'll do is,
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good either way.
let's say that this is the new circle for that project, because even though, like we talked about this before, that healing Umaya and vindicating Umaya was different things. So even
That's
though
true.
they're an angel, they're not the kind of angel heaven expects.
I think that makes sense.
So let's leave this. Let's give you a victory in that they're now actually an angel.
Yeah, but not a big one. But that makes sense.
Yeah. Actually, I'll give you a revelation, but I don't have to award MP for it.
Okay.
That's fine. Revelation is now actually an angel.
And how much MP do I get in total for the? Because that one doesn't have MP. It's just they run for.
Oh yeah, let's go back a little bit first. So for making Umaya be an angel again, this is. Let's open up that document. Destiny. Revelations give you 0 to 5 MP. Like everyone was heavily involved. I give everyone 5 MP for that. Yeah, everyone gets 5 MP for that. For learning you're in control of your power, I'm going to give you 2 MP.
Okay.
And I don't think anybody else was heavily involved in that.
No, me and change.
Sorry, you're really hard to understand.
Mm-hmm.
It was me and Chang.
Right. Yeah. So the NPC gets some. And then I won't give you any MP for Umaya now being an angel. But I'll give you the Destiny.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that seems more fair. Okay. So let's look at Trek. How Trek claimed change as an anchor. I feel like we made progress towards this.
Yeah.
Give you a victory. What do you think your victory is?
Well, she and I are potentially going to be working alongside each other, or at least
okay.
that. So
Working alongside change now and in the future. Okay. Did you find a home? Sure. I'll give you a trivial victory. You found a home in your body.
Yep.
Whether you like it or not. How you sought the witch? Nope. Nope. They learn to manipulate the physical world? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm now forced to do everything physically.
Yeah, now yeah. I am home physical body. Okay. So we originally talked about this being a project for increasing your aspects trait.
Mm-hmm.
So when this fills up, you can do that. And then how you inspired Umaya to leave the chancel. Yeah, like let's also give 10 points for making her into an
Nice.
angel. So she hasn't left the chancel yet, but a good way to use your, one thing that's true ability for completing a project is just actually just say, and Umaya left to see the greater world for the first time. But you get to decide if this project is done or not. So.
Okay.
Okay.
I think I will. Yeah. And if you want me to, I can probably do it right.
Yeah, sure. If you can do it right now, or if you want to wait till next time, that's fine too.
Well, I think it's pretty simple. That
Sure.
like once Umaya got the ability to leave, Trek offered to like travel and show everything that Umaya had been missing, like all the beauty outside of the chancel that Umaya had been craving to see.
Cool.
And they traveled together.
Nice. In the real mortal world?
I think, yeah, that's where they started.
So everyone's going to see the Angel 1.0 flying across the sky?
I mean, that probably doesn't occur to Trek as a bad thing. So.
Okay. All right. So you got more to blow into place than moons, Phineas.
Yep.
Oh, this kind of works towards your unwritten project, honestly, about the church.
What's the unwritten project?
Right? Because you didn't make reforming the church into a real project.
Yeah, I haven't. I'm considering, how many projects can I have?
You can have as many as you want.
I'm considering 2 new ones. I think one is like reforming the church into to follow like the true shape of the world. And the other is like mastering the politics of the Nobilis in the same way that, as somebody who has risen quickly in the church hierarchy, I was able to master the church, even though I'm still like fundamentally inadequate in like other areas that like someone like Rob would know more about, like business.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I can go like narrow in these like philosophical and spiritual politics.
Yeah, cool. I'm interested to see what happens next. All right, so we said we'd stop early, so let's do that. Thanks to anybody who's watching, and catch you guys later.